Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Namaste, wherever you may be in this world, lovely people. Sending you love, sending you light. Sending you love, sending you light. Hey, so I'm talking about love, guys. But I'm talking about the flip side of love, the other side of the coin. You know, I'm looking at grief, sorrow, loss, disappointment, even anger, you know. These are all emotions that I've been experiencing in the last few weeks as I've lost 2 family members. So there's been a lot of emotions that have been coming out of late. A lot of feelings of sorrow, sadness. And I've just been riding the wave of it, to be honest. And it's, as much as it's been painful and sad, it's actually been quite beautiful. It's brought a lot of peace into me, into my being. It's allowed me to come back into my center and be still. To be still with myself during this time. And that's what I wanted to talk about, you know, with love. Love isn't all, you know, love isn't just all candy and fluffy and, you know, everything nice and beautiful and, you know, euphoric and just, you know, yes, that is all aspects of love, and we can all feel that when we are in love, giving love, being love in our lives. But what about the flip side of the coin? You know, when the shit hits the fan, basically, with love, you know, that could be, as I said, through loss of loved ones, loss of a relationship, coming to the realization, you know, that person, that situation, that experience that you may be having in your life, you may not have again with that person, as they're no longer there, in physical body anyway, less in physical, not in spiritual, you know, not energetically, but we're looking at the physical. So this has been tough. It's been a tough time, just not for me, for family members, for everyone. But as I said, I've found an immense amount of peace at the moment. And this is, you know, what I wanted to just briefly talk about is that it's okay to bust yourself open at times. It's okay for your heart to really burst open, you know. We suppress ourselves a lot. We suppress our emotions and we suppress our heart. And we do everything in life as human beings to avoid pain, to avoid suffering, to avoid grief. And sometimes what we do in our lives, to avoid all of that, we go around it, not understanding as our actions are going around the situation, we're actually causing more grief, more sorrow, more pain within our own lives by not being courageous and going into it, whatever that may be, you know, going into that pain, going into the sorrow, going into the grief. Why is it we're always skirting around grief, sorrow, sadness, loss? You know, we don't want to visit these emotions, but we need to. It's part of life. You know, it's part of life. Life is not always up. Yeah, if we was always up in life and we wasn't down, how would we know that we're up? You know, we need the polarity. We need the polarity, the yin, the yang. You know, the polarity of the emotions, of our feelings. You know, we need both. You know, sadness, sorrow, grief strips us open. It lays us bare to ourselves. Not to anyone else, to ourselves. It allows ourselves to be bare with ourselves. And this is where our most precious, purest energy is. within our own souls, that is untainted, untouched, is when we allow ourselves to burst open with that grief, with that sorrow, with that pain, with that loss, whatever that may be. You may have ended a relationship that you very much, that was painful. That was a very difficult decision for you to do, to step out of something, to step away from someone that you had feelings for, that you loved dearly. But you've had to step out of it for whatever reasons. It's painful. These choices sometimes that we have to make in our lives. You may have lost a loved one, unexpectedly, like I just have done, lost two loved ones, like that. What do we do? Do we go into the depression? Do we go into the meltdown? Which is fine. If that's how you deal with grief, that's how you deal with grief. But what I'm seeing is there's different ways. Like back in the day, if I would have got this news, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I know I would have dealt with it completely differently. I would have been a mess. I might have even allowed it to take me into some dark abyss. Mentally, spiritually, shut myself down. Don't want to talk to anyone. Don't want to see anyone. I'm depressed. I'm not depressed. I'm sad. I've got a loss. I'm at a loss. So something beautiful always comes out of something tragic or sad. There is always a silver lining. And selfishly, the silver lining here for me is that I've actually seen my own growth throughout this transition. I've seen that with acceptance for what life is, because life is transitory, nothing stays the same, everything is in motion. And one thing that is for sure, everything that is now on this earth, as we understand and we know, will pass away or will crumble and return back to the ashes. Whether this is the body, the physical, the matter, the gross matter, or is the buildings, the architectures, the structures, the mountains, the sea, the cliffs, everything will erode, everything will return back to earth eventually. And having this greater awareness and understanding of that has allowed me to deal with this sorrow and this grief in a much more productive way. Much more productive way for Karen anyway. I acknowledge my grief. I acknowledge my sadness. I acknowledge my vulnerability. I acknowledge my loss. And through that acknowledgement comes acceptance. So I was able to accept it all, acknowledge it all, and give myself this time the self-care that I really need. That means not running around like a headless chicken. Giving myself that good food today, tomorrow. Making sure I get up in the morning to go for that walk, to be in nature. I'm much more in control, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, with these passings. And that's the message today. Don't allow grief, sorrow, pain, to put you in them holding spaces in your life where you become immobilized, paralyzed, depressed. Life is always going to throw things at us. Shit, basically. Life is unpredictable. One day you're going down one path and your life is happy, everything's wonderful, and then bam, the next minute it changes. So the message is we always have to be prepared for the unprepared in your life. Spiritually, mentally, physically, you need to be prepared, guys, because anything can happen at any time. Do not allow love, the other side of the coin of love, to throw you into that dismay. Yes, feel the sadness. Yes, feel the grief. Yes, feel the loss. Yes, feel the pain. Yes, feel the anger. Feel all of your emotions, but don't be consumed by them. Don't let them consume you and spit you out, okay? You're supposed to be feeling these things. Your heart is supposed to feel these emotions. Allow it to. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. And never give up on love. You know, be open to love. And understand that love comes in many facets. Pain, sorrow, grief, hurt. It's all part of love. Yeah? Happiness, bliss, joy is all part of love. You know, we don't need to shut down our hearts when we're grieving, when we feel sorrowful, when we feel pain, especially that love pain, you know, that pang, that love. When we lose that love, you lose the love and you let go of the love. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, but with self-love, it becomes easier. Okay, with self-love, love becomes easier. Practice self-love every day. Make self-love the most important ingredient that you put into your daily life. Your self-love. As soon as you wake up in the morning, thank you, Father. Self-love. Yeah, do what you need to do that makes you feel good each day. But stay with your love. Don't allow love to make you sour. Don't allow love to turn you bitter. Because love would never do that, by the way. Okay? So that saying, you know, it could never really be. Because if you're really dealing with what love is, love would never ever make you feel those things. You know, love would never let you sit in a bitter place. Love will never let you sit in a sour place. You may sit there for half an hour feeling those thoughts and let them wash through. But love will never ever leave you in those desolate places. Love is the highest vibration. Love is God. Okay? Embrace it all, guys. I love you. Namaste.